What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Pyramid Sports Network FC show. I'm your host, Quinn Blackman, and this week we're going to talk about a lot of the big things that have happened in the past, week and a half since we last saw each other, and that'll cover, the craziness of the AFCON final. That'll cover some of the recent Premier League news. That'll cover some recent player news and transfers making waves across the world. And I'm going to go through some winners and some losers. So let's get right into it. And for those of you asking at home, they say, Quinn, dang man, that's a really cool shirt you got on. What is that? This is the Portland Hearts of Pine in the USL League One. This is their alternate shirt from last season. They are an unbelievable club with an unbelievable purpose, based in Portland, Maine. I have a lot of family up there. I spent a lot of time up there. And it's truly a remarkable story. And if any of you have time to, I would look them up and kind of read a little bit into them. Even got their book right here. Kind of going over this past season was their inaugural season, so it was a chance for me to feel like I was part of something that was bigger than me, and it's kind of about the town, so it was cool. Um, but all right, let's get right into it. So, to start in AFCON, Senegal win the African Cup of Nations, and they beat Morocco, but not without some drama. So, Morocco lose to Senegal 1-0 in extra time. And going into extra time in injury time, added time at the end of the 90 minutes, there is a crazy sequence of events where for a while it's rain's coming down. The tournament is hosted in Morocco, and there are some videos that have surfaced of the ball boys, the Moroccan ball boys who are lining the end line, waiting to help the keeper put the ball back in play. They were trying to steal Eduardo Mendy, the keeper for Senegal. They're trying to steal his towel. And this was kind of a big situation because it was pouring rain. The keeper needs his hands to be dry, and over again, they keep bringing him out a new towel, and all of a sudden, it keeps disappearing to the point where even Achraf Hakimi even grabs his towel and throws it away. And that's not even the craziest part because not only is that just completely unnecessary, lack of sportsmanship, Hakimi, who is such a big time player doing that is it's pretty embarrassing, and it's there's no place in that in for that in the game. But yeah, Yevhan Diouf, the backup keeper for Senegal, he is a keeper on, let's see. I should have done this before. He is a keeper for Nice. And he's like a nearly a $10 million player. And there are videos that surface of him during the final of him getting tackled by Moroccan ball boys who are not even involved in the match, trying to take the Mendy's towel. And it was just it was ridiculous. But anyways, in added time at the end of the 90 minutes, it looks like Brahim Diaz is brought down, or Morocco's awarded a penalty, and Brahim Diaz steps up, and but between the time that the penalty was given and the time the penalty was taken, there was I think it was close to 20 minutes because the Senegal team was pulled off the field by their coach, and it was it was unbelievable. They were protesting it. They were saying this was corruption, that Morocco had been given favorable treatment, that their players and their ball boys and the stadium staff were trying to pin this against them, and the CAF was trying to pin this against them for the greatest team in Africa to win the tournament. And Senegal, which is inexcusable also, their manager decided to pull the players off the field, which I thought was despicable too, is if no matter how horrible the decision is, you can't do that. You just can't. It ruins the integrity of the game, and you don't fight fire with fire. And eventually Sadio Mane, who hats off to him, he kept charge of that locker room, and he brought everybody back out on the field. And the rumor is that Brahim Diaz, he was instructed to miss the penalty because there was so much they thought it was corruption, and it looked like there was some conversation between Senegal and Moroccan players and Sadio Mane, and that there may have been some talk. That's the conspiracy, is that Brahim Diaz missed it intentionally to save um, the integrity of the match and not let it end on something like that. But it's just unbelievable that this would happen, is that you have to question if there is corruption in a championship level match of these stakes for the champion of Africa and the best football players in the world. So if you have time, go to YouTube, watch it. There's probably an extended highlights, which is about 20 minutes. And it's truly remarkable what happens, because I don't understand how this is even possible. Um, so anyways, Senegal wins. They win with a goal in the what minute was that goal in? Let's see. That goal was in the 94th minute. And in extra time, honestly, a screamer. So if you have time, I would highly recommend going to watch that in its entirety, because the end of it, and if you go on Twitter, you'll see videos of these people, the ball boys trying to steal the towel, and he literally, the backup keeper, the second choice keeper for Senegal, gets tackled trying to keep his starting goal, his towel, and try to keep him ready to go. And all the while, last point on this is, all the while in some of these videos you see that the backup keeper for Senegal is being wrestled on the field by ball boys while the ball is in play, and the referee is not stopping it. So that makes me question that there was some sort of foul play going, but I'm not going to be the one to, make any claim about that. I have no idea. But congratulations to Senegal. They deserved it. Shame on Morocco. I hope they don't host an event like this for the foreseeable future. It was just completely and utterly embarrassing for the country. Moving on. Yesterday, Arsenal lose to United 3-2 at the Emirates, their first loss at the Emirates since May against Bournemouth, and it was their first time conceding 3 goals in, I think, nearly 3 years. Um, and the Gunners just looked horrible from about the 30-minute mark on. For the first 30 minutes, they were dominating possession. They seemed like they had their foot on the gas to an extent, as much as Mikel Arteta lets them keep their foot on the gas. They seem like they just play scared. And it's something about the league that I think is it's mental for them, because they go to the Champions League and they go to the San Siro, and look just like they outclass and outwork Inter Milan and win that game 3-1 in the Champions League. And then they come back and they play United, who, credit where credit is due, Michael Carrick has done a fantastic job, and they have now beaten City and Arsenal. And people are saying, are United back? I mean, United is in fourth place. They're fourth of the table right now, 12 points clear or behind Arsenal. Um, but who's to say they don't make a run? Because from what I watched in those last 60 minutes of Arsenal, and how City have kind of been a little bit lackluster. Erling Haaland has 1 goal. I'll get to that in a little bit. He has 1 goal in his last 6 league matches, so he's kind of come down to earth. Um, but Arsenal, they are the best team in the Premier League, and they have the most depth. They have players that have creativity, yet none of them play creatively. And for the last 60 minutes of that match on Sunday, it looked like they had their tail between their legs and were afraid to make the mistake. And they get on the board early they score early, and it was an own goal off of Lisandro Martinez, but it was really just unfortunate that he deflected it in. It was a great cross by Bukayo Saka, trying to find Jurriën Timber, and it got deflected in. But following that is a terrible giveaway by Martin Zubimendi in his defensive third, and it clears the way for Brian Mbeumo to, just slot it past David Raya, and it was just nothing he could do, and it was a gift. But this was kind of the story of the game for Arsenal, was this tense pressure every time there's a mishit, every time there's a duel lost. The Emirates crowd was roaring and jeering, and it's not what the players need. They need the support from behind them to uplift them, because they can very obviously feel the pressure of not being able to necessarily win anything, and being these people criticizing them on the internet about their play style. But Arsenal can beat you in so many different ways, and it seems like at times in the league they lose their confidence. And the most interesting thing that I heard was from Patrick Vieira, who was an integral part of the Invincibles Arsenal team some 20 years ago. He said that there's a lack of leadership in the Arsenal locker room, and he said this after the match on Sunday, which was interesting to me because um, I've never really agreed with Martin Odegaard being the captain because I think that he too is a culprit of playing afraid at times, and you need a fearless captain. And I see, um, I I guess looking at it, I don't know who I see as that true leader for this Arsenal club. I think it should be Gabriel, um, because I watch him, um, keeping people in check and giving out assignments and trying to maintain shape. And I really think that he should wear the armband. But that's besides the point. You have guys like Bukayo Saka who haven't scored in 12 league matches. Gyökeres has one goal in how many matches? Noni Madueke hasn't scored in 25 league matches. It's just they're getting zero output from their stars, and their midfield looked terrible in against United. And Zubimendi obviously with the critical error. Declan Rice, I mean, I think he's a top three midfielder in the world right now, but it just looked like they look like they're not playing free, and that um they're afraid, and they go up and they don't want to make it 2-0. They go up 1-0, they don't want to make it 2-0. They go up 1-0 and they'll say, "Okay, let's sit back. We're okay winning the game 1-0." But no, championship sides have to be able to put teams away early. And I think that's what they're going to have to do moving forward because if they keep this shape up, they are going to be in for a rude awakening, and um it's I hope that this is a wake-up call for them because this, however many matches we are into the season of boring football and sideways and backwards and trying and set pieces, when you have guys like Eberechi Eze and Bukayo Saka and Victor Gyökeres and the list goes on of these players that are so creative and have been creative their whole career, and they just need to play free. And there's something about putting on that crest that I think makes them not play free necessarily because I don't think it's all on Arteta. I think that there's a piece of it that is him, but I don't think it is all on him. I'm going to keep moving on. I have a lot to say about that, but I want to, for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it moving forward. So Liverpool lose at the death to Bournemouth. They lost 3-2 off of a goal by Armin Adli in the 95th minute. And if you have time, this is another game that I would say go watch. Because the the pace for the last 15 minutes was end to end. It was classic Premier League football. And just watching Bournemouth score on the last kick of the game was truly poetic, and I think that you're going to have to look for some sort of change. I saw Mo Salah playing again, and he just didn't seem like he had that same impact. I think it's going to be time for him to go come summer. Um, I think it's a tough go, but I think you got to look at Arne Slot because he is the most expensive, one of the most expensive teams in the world, and there's something going on with the culture, and I think culture in football is mightily important because you see guys like Liam Rowe Sr. at Chelsea who have put since taking charge, Liam Sr. has just said, I'm not worried about tactics. I just want to bring culture back to Chelsea Football Club. And what has he done? He has brought the culture back, and you see those guys playing hard every single game. And it's because they have a guy in the locker room who is leading them and is instilling courage in them because that's what it takes to be a tough side in the Premier League is to have courage. It's physical, it's fast, and you have to have courage. And I think Liam Senior has done a great job. And Michael Carrick has also done a great job stepping in for Amarin, who you have seen have an immediate impact. And that's where I think that Arne Slot has trouble motivating his side. Moving on, I think that so the Spurs tied 2-2 to Burnley away. 19th place Burnley. Spurs continue to be um, in the bottom half of the table. Thomas Frank's side, like what he's doing, it just they seem uninspired. They bring in they bring in what's his freaking name? They brought in Connor Gallagher. So I drew a blank. They brought in Connor Gallagher in the transfer window, sent out Brennan Johnson to Palace, and maybe there's a change up. But I mean, if your two center backs have 4 goals each, I just, I it's there's something wrong with the attack, but so their big signings in the summer haven't really done much. Um, Drawing away to 19 and having to tie the draw. Okay, they earned that point in the 90th minute thanks to a Christian Romero goal. And it's just, there's something over there too. And I mean, I think that instead of, bringing in all of these flashy managers or these guys that, or these big time players, it's about culture. And I think at the end of the day, there's a combination of it both. I don't think Thomas Frank is the greatest people motivator in the world because I think that's one of the most important traits in a football manager. But I also think that the club just isn't as talented as everybody thinks they truly are, which it leads you to being a bottom half side. And I think that, the legacy run in the Europa League was great for them, and congratulations to Tottenham, but they have some work to do this summer. Moving on to Chelsea, who absolutely battered Palace 3-1. Esteval scored an end-to-end goal that was just phenomenal. That's why he's one of the most exciting young players. Outpaces, I can't remember who for Palace, but outpaces someone 70 yards, and finishes cutting it back to across the keeper's body, left-footed strike to the right side of the net. Um, and yeah, it's Palace are in a free fall after losing Mark Gahey to City last week, their captain, and then Oliver Glasner says he's going to leave after this year. It's just they really they died for the FA Cup win. They died for their sins. They sacrificed everything. They sacrificed Michael Olise, Eberechi Eze, Mark Gahey, Oliver Glasner, and more to win that FA Cup. And it's truly sad. But I'm not. I will always have a part of me that wants to root for Palace. I'm not a Palace fan, but there's something about the way they bring up players and the kind of the culture that they have. And I think also another aspect of it is fun fact that their stadium, their pitch is where AFC Richmond and Ted Lasso film their home games. So that's a fun little tidbit. But yeah, again, William Senior is making Chelsea fun again, and has Pedro Neto playing very well again, and Moises Caicedo probably should have gotten sent off again. He just does the most boneheaded things sometimes, but he's a fantastic player. Um, Moving on to City, who beat Wolves 2-0. Semenyo scores again, and he just looks like he has the most freedom on that City side. It looks no matter if he's on the right or on the left, he just kind of roams and finds the ball and gets on it. And it doesn't even look like he's sprinting. I said this a few podcasts ago. When he runs, it looks like he's just gliding, and he's just in, third gear, fourth gear, just rolling it by you. And then just having he like passes these shots in. It was a left-footed strike from inside, right on the edge of the box or slightly inside the box. And it's just like a pass. He curls it into the bottom left corner. It's just a classy goal. And going back to what I said earlier, Erling Haaland has one league goal in his last 6 matches. And he's kind of looked out of sorts recently in the Champions League when they lost to Bodo Glimt. It was they go up to the Arctic Circle and lose to a Norwegian side 3-1 and ended up refunding their traveling fans their money for such a poor performance. But Holland missed what you would expect to see him bag in that match. Missed a goal that was cut back and he pushed it wide. But yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, Erling Haaland, he's such a fantastic player. He's so physically gifted. Not the most likable player. I will he seems like he can have an attitude sometimes towards opposing teams. And it can be a little hypocritical at times where I remember seeing him, wanting a pass to come, not getting it, making a scene, and then a few games ago I watched him, take a strike and miss pretty badly when he had a pass to make that could have resulted in a better opportunity. But regardless, Erling Haaland, fantastic player. Love to watch him. I mean, he's just like I mean, he's the most physically gifted, strong, fast, and just like doesn't have the greatest touch, but will find the back of the net. Um, Moving on, I will say the goal of the week is I'll do this little segment. Um, the goal of the week I would say there are two. I'll give you the two for you at home. Go look up Patrick Dorgu's strike against Arsenal, left-footed strike from outside the 18. It was breathtaking. Hits it off of the crossbar, bounces down and in the into the net, and it was just a wonder strike. And then the other strike that I would like to say is up for the goal of the week is the overhead kick by Lamine Yamal. It was just unbelievable. He does it again. He just continues to amaze. So go watch Lamine Yamal's overhead kick and go watch Patrick Dorgu's strike against Arsenal. Um, let's see. I will give you my winner of the week while I um, am doing my goals of the week. My winner of the week is Endrick, who since going on a loan to Lyon has 4 goals, a hat trick, including those 4 goals in 3 matches played. And looks like he kind of has his joy again. He's smiling. I think he's out of just the toxic locker room that is Real Madrid right now. And there's something in the water over there that's just it's a shame because it's such a legendary club with so many great players, and there's something in the water over there. Another note. Loanee out from Arsenal to Marseille, Ethan Nwaneri, 18-year-old or might be 19 years old now. Winger also plays centrally in the midfield, scores a wonderful goal in his first start for Marseille on a loan until the end of the season. Some other news around the footballing world. So Fulham have submitted another bid for PSV's Ricardo Pepi for $38 million. There was a rumor a couple weeks ago that they had put in a bid that was rejected. So that's notable. Arsenal is rumored for a summer transfer to Julian Alvarez, which would cost them around 100 million euros. And they would probably have to sell Gabriel Jesus or maybe another forward to be able to make that happen. But that would be just a fantastic get, a guy who is a solidified goal scorer in the Premier League in the peak of his career to the Emirates to be able to be that classic number 9. And maybe help Gyökeres and give him a little bit more competition. Not that he doesn't have any already, but it would be a player that would be an unbelievable fit at Arsenal, really an unbelievable fit at any team, that true center forward. Um, some more news. Trinity Rodman, congratulations, Trinity Rodman. After a long contract dispute, she re-signs with the Washington Spirit on a 3-year deal for $2 million around roughly a year, making her the highest paid women's footballer in the world. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic news because she is really the future of U.S. women's soccer, and it just brings joy to the game and plays with so much style and swagger, and she earned it. It's really great to see. So Trinity Rodman, congratulations, getting $2 million roughly a year, and it's great. It's great to see, and hopefully that'll help grow the women's game in the U.S. By not having her leave for the women's soccer league over in Europe and England that has been very competitive with the national or with the women's soccer league in the States. Some other news, Ali Rathbone and Josh Windass goals at the death for Wrexham against QPR. Wrexham jumps into championship playoff territory with this win. Josh Windass scores a beautiful volley in the 91st minute, 92nd minute, and then a minute later, 93rd minute, and then the 94th minute, Ali Rathbone scores a absolute belter from outside the 18. Go watch that one as well if you have YouTube. Wrexham beat QPR at the death. Um, and that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to get out of this. So we have coming up this week, we have some Champions League matches, Champions League match days. We have the Premier League continuing. We have football everywhere. If you have NBC, you'll see games live on NBC, on YouTube TV, or on cable. If you have other streaming services, ESPN Plus will have some La Liga matches. If you have CBS, there will be some championship matches sometimes, some French league matches, some Italian league matches. So you just have to keep an eye out for what is on TV. But with that, thank you all so much for listening to episode 3 of the PSNFC podcast. Drop your comments below on what you want to hear about next week. What's your favorite team? What teams you want to hear about more? And if you guys are a fan of this alternate kit for the Portland Hearts of Pine, I love it. The orange camo is so sweet. But yeah, I will see you all next time. Thanks.